Okay, this is a series that I'm starting on the Linux shell and shell scripts. Now, I just want to go over exactly what the shell is. Well, the shell is basically an interpreter. When you write programs, they're either normally going to be a compiled language such as C or C++, where you have a binary file that kind of runs on its own. May need some library files and stuff. Then you also have scripting files, which are just plain text. They're text files that you basically create a list of commands and you run through an interpreter. An interpreter is just a program that reads that file line by line and does what it says. And so the shell is basically an interpreter that you can either dump a script file into, or you can have a prompt where you can type stuff, such as echo hello. And it will run those commands. Now I want to be clear that there are different shells, different shell environments, and they're also different. There are built-in commands and there are external commands. So for example, I just ran the echo command, which is built into pretty much every shell for displaying information to the screen. It is built in that shell, so as long as you have a shell, that command will be there. Now there are external commands such as grep and sed and awk. These are commands, programs that are normally on almost every system. Even if you're on a very lightweight system, some aspect of those tools are going to be available for you. But they are not built into the shell, so they may not be there. And then there are, external commands can be anything from nmap on up. I mean, technically you can start stuff like Firefox from the shell. And that's not necessarily a shell program, but you can run it from the shell, and running a text-based application is basically the same concept. So I want to clarify that I'll try to, in tutorials, point out when a command is an external command and you have to make sure you have it installed rather than something that's built in. Now, there's also different types of shells, and I'll go over in the next video more of the differences. Like on my system, I have my default shell set to Z shell. And the way you can test this on most systems, one way is type in echo $0, and that will tell you what shell you're running, and you can see I'm running Z shell. On most Linux systems and Mac OS, and probably some other operating systems as well, bash is the default shell. So I just typed in bash and now I am in the bash shell. And again, I'll go over more of the differences between bash and Z shell in the next video, so be sure to check out the playlist in the description of this video to get the full playlist of all the videos in this series. So some of the Z shell commands and bash internal commands will work different, where something external like grep, it doesn't matter whether I'm in Z shell or bash. On this system, I'm running the same instance of grep, where a command like the read command or the ls command might actually work different depending on what shell you're in. The way you can tell what shells are installed on your system, you can cat out a file. So cat /etc/shells. So here we're going to display the information from a file called shells. It's just a text file inside our etc folder within our root directory of our file system. So I can display that, and it should list out all valid login shells that are available on my system. sh is available here, but in most cases that's going to point to your default shell, which will normally be bash on many systems. As I said, I have Z shell installed, but then you can also see that I have dash installed, rbash, and then also screen and tmux, which are a little different, and I might get to those in future videos. I've done videos on them in the past as well.